The NFL draft is behind us, so I think it's time to look at 5 things to do post NFL draft for Dynasty. So let's just dive right in. At the top, finalize your rookie rankings and finalize your rookie tiers. This is probably the biggest thing you can do post draft. We have the information we need. We have draft capital. We have landing spot, right? We saw who won or lost the draft, whatever that may be. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But we have everything we could possibly need to make our rookie rankings. And if you're coming up and drafting in the next week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, you need to have those on hand. If you have your rookie tiers, it's going to help you, kind of solidify or make sure you don't overreach for certain players in the draft, right? Or you don't let some guys fall too far. When you look at guys like Jonathan Mingo and Marvin Mims, Zach Charbonnet, players that, may jump or drop tiers because of draft capital and landing spot, it helps create a baseline for where you believe they should go. If they're going well ahead of your tiers, then you probably just won't draft them. And that's, just understanding your process, your ranking system, or, if you're using mine and Addison's, it helps understand that as well. So have your tiers, have your ranks ready to go entering your rookie drafts. The second thing you can do is, once you have your tiers and ranks set, identify what you believe are strong spots in the draft and weak spots in the draft, right? If you have giant tiers, do you want to be at the beginning, the middle, or the end of those tiers? Is that a strong or a weak spot to be, right? Like if you don't care which tier 2 wide receiver you get, whether it's Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnston, Jordan Addison, those are mine, and you are drafting at the top of that tier, trade to the back of that tier. Go ahead and add veterans, add future picks, specifically 2024 picks, just to, maneuver within tiers. If you hate the beginning of a tier, right, the tier with like Josh Downs and that group of players, and you're not excited, trade out of that tier. Who cares? Go ahead, get veterans that you believe in, or again, go ahead and trade for future picks. This is where you can maneuver during the draft, whether it's trading up or trading down, to not only create long-term value on your team, but also to just position yourself to build a team that you like. I think that's the biggest piece here. If you want to trade up and get a guy that you are obsessed with, like if you were all in on Jordan Addison, trade up for Jordan Addison. That's fine. If you know he's going to go at the top of a tier, move up to the top of that tier if you think that is a position you would like to be in, any player you desperately want to draft. Aside from rookie drafts, there are things we can do still, and that is look at the landscape of the NFL post-NFL draft. Who were the winners? Who were the losers? Are they dropping in price or rising in price to the point where they are now buys or sells on your team, right? There's a guy out there, Kenneth Walker. I think most of us would consider him a draft loser. But with where he's starting to fall in startup drafts, I think it's fine to buy Kenneth Walker. So you can go ahead and use perception of different players to now create buy and sell windows for guys that previously didn't have any. Before the NFL draft, Tyler Algier was a hold for a lot of people, right? Just because we didn't know what was going to happen. Obviously, he gets Bijan Robinson. Now, if you're the Bijan Robinson owner, Tyler Algier is a great trade target because now, 1, he's devalued, and 2, he's the immediate handcuff to Bijan Robinson. So these are the things you can do to go get players that have either lost or gained value, depending on perception within your league. Number 4, again, outside of the NFL draft, we can actually go and trade for running backs because I think all of us have basically been paralyzed because who was going to survive the draft? It was a loaded running back class. What guys were going to go day 2? Who was going to get just absolutely nuked in terms of value? But now, right, guys like James Conner, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, Miles Sanders, Ramondre Stevenson, all of them survive. And there's a bunch of others that survived as well. While they may rise in value because they are, quote unquote, safe this year, if you're a contending roster, I want safe this year. That's what I care about. Again, I talked about trading for James Conner a few weeks ago on the discount because I didn't think the Cardinals were going to draft a running back just based on overall team need. He survives. He's going to rise in price, but I'm still trading for James Conner as a contender because I know he's going to get a monster workload. I may even go add Keontae Ingram if he's sitting on waivers because he's now the clear-cut handcuff. You have these situations with a ton of rosters. The guys I named all survive, all are going to have value moving forward, and as a contender, those are players I want to target, and I may even scoop up, their handcuffs late, guys like Zach Evans to back up Cam Akers. Maybe, Keaton Mitchell, while he is small, could be a nice handcuff to J.K. Dobbins later in the season if some other injuries shake out. Ramondre Stevenson, you have Pierre Strong sitting out there, you have Kevin Harris. maybe James Robinson if he makes the roster. So now we have just a clearer picture of running backs overall, so we can actually make moves with confidence. And finally, and I don't know if I can say it on a Dynasty channel, but go ahead and start prepping for redraft season. The reason is, if you're a contender, understanding redraft rankings is the best way to identify veteran trade targets. Those are guys that we think could perform highly, even if they don't cost you an arm and a leg, right? A guy like Christian Kirk, I think, is going to have a very good season in redraft. He very well could be a low-end wide receiver too. That's where you have to gauge his price in Dynasty. Is he going to cost you more than a cheaper wide receiver too, like Amari Cooper? He's cheaper than Christian Kirk in most leagues, and I think he'll outperform Christian Kirk. So if I'm competing, I'm going to take Amari Cooper over Christian Kirk. Those are the type of things you can do to set yourself up and still, again, gain value. You can probably trade Christian Kirk for like Amari Cooper in a second. I think that's a reasonable trade. So that is where you can go ahead, add your future picks, get maybe a little bit older at a position, but still have good value on your roster and still be in a position to contend not only this year, but long term. All right, guys, that is all I have for you. Again, if you like what we're doing here at DLF, subscribe to the channel. Check out the DLF YouTube membership. You get extra videos every single month from Addison and myself. As always, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.